My name is Laura, and I am a stay-at-home wife. And I take care of my husband who has been paralyzed for 3 years plus. This was directly related to when he had a heat stroke as a field engineer. During one hot day in an open field fortnight, he actually passed out while on duty. Over this, he collapsed, and when he was on top of a 3-story building, in his stand to fall, heavily falls. This caused the commotion, and luckily, he was brought to hospital immediately. The most heartbreaking day of my life. The phone was barely on the verge of receiving a call, and my whole body started shaking. I was floored by what I heard, but I also could not take the chance of what would happen to my husband. What if we lose him? I got the hospital details and rushed there immediately. To my surprise, my mother-in-law beat me. She was being hysterical and panicky as hell. Martha, calm down. Everything will be okay. My son is dying, and you want me to be cool. Are you insane? She shouted at me. I'm not shocked at all. I am well accustomed to the fact that she finds me absolutely bloody irritating. It is either abusive or nagging. Fuck you. I do not even care anymore. Although, truth is I always want to talk back her, but what does it achieve? So, instead, the quite stiff upper lip. My husband was held for nearly 2 weeks. I stayed by his side and did everything he needed for a week. I was adamant that I needed to look after him, and obviously he is my husband, so why wouldn't I be hands-on? I have to be there for him when he needs me most. But on the 2nd week, my mother-in-law said that she will do everything. She said for me to get back to work and save up money because the bills were only going to start piling in. Who knew how long he was gonna have to stay in that hospital? I said it was okay and that I would not go to work. My husband needs me during his recovery. One who wanted me to be with her so badly. The doctor added that he is stable now. No worries, I will watch him so you can go to work tomorrow. It's fine. I already filed a leave of absence from our boss. He understands my situation. No, you too. Of course, this time imagine my surprise when she actually answered. Why was she so mad? But I have a 2 weeks work leave, so my boss said it's okay. You have to work, so go. I was following her against my will. Maybe she just wanted some mom alone time with her son, and maybe also was legitimately a little bit worried about the money. The following day, I went to the office. I dedicated all my time and soul to what I did. All my office mates were amazed I showed up that day. Every one of them knew the gravity concerning my husband. So, I told them that for the finances, there is a lot of extra work needed from me. My boss was kind enough to give me higher pay this month just so I can have funds not only for the hospital bill, but everything that would help him recover. Unfortunately, inch by excruciatingly slow inch as the doctor relayed his many test results back to us, half of my dad's body was going paralyzed. I'm afraid I have some bad news for you, Mrs. Thompson. After your husband took a nasty spill down the stairs last night, he has experienced partial paralysis of his right side as well. Still, there is hope to reverse this. Thank God, doctor. Thank you. I am the mother of Ethan, and I know that you are doing all within your power to relieve him. Do whatever is in your power. I have no idea what the doctor said after that last part. My mother-in-law cut him off. But the one thing I'll know, my married man is paralyzed. He will be on his back for the rest of days. My heart sank. I could not imagine him having to go through this. I hate to see him like that. The mother-in-law demanded that she should be staying with us because her son needs to personally care for his own affairs while I go out there and be one of the men. Well, maybe that is a sincere and true act that I also don't want to bother her as she gets old too. We could pay for a private aid, but she would insist she was going to do it. So, in that case, as soon my husband got discharged, there was an instant arrival of mother-in-law. 3 anus skrill ago, my husband was involved in a tragic accident. We followed all the interventions and therapy he had to do in order for him to recover quickly, but nothing was happening. There was none at all. I have always worked for my family, that includes taking care of medical bills for my husband. It was my mother-in-law who accompanied to therapy sessions and took medication with him. Every time they were done at one, I would check in after the session and ask about what improvements my husband had made or whether any former wounds/injuries/health issues flared up. But every time she responded, "Better than the last one. No progress. There is no improvement." The doctor said, "Well, we need to do another session, etc. We always do 3-year session, and after all this time there is no progress." I said, "Is it the doctor or my mother-in-law?" I didn't want to feel unkindly toward her, but could not avoid doing so. But in the heart, as a family, I will not consider her evil. One weekend, I told my mother-in-law that she could take a break and sleep as much as needed to rest while I held the space for taking care of her son. I knew that I would feel this way each day for the rest of his life as I sat beside him, watching him live with paralysis. The war rages on each day, and it feels as if I'm always in a losing battle. I talk to him, give a description of my day, and everything that would register as another piece in the puzzle for every memory he had about me, because even if it doesn't all sync up, I remind him again how much so very special he is, but has still my husband. Sitting on a chair, clutching my husband lying weakly in pain on his bed. He was completely paralyzed and mute, suggesting his recovery looked grim. She seemed like that pillar of strength, especially during these trying times. She was our glue, but this little part of me began to suspect, a native intuition reminding me how it has never sounded right. One time I came home from work before fucking 9 p.m. I quickly went to my husband's room, but just as I reached there and was about to enter, I could hear that voice of mother-in-law talking with someone. Now, unless I'm completely off my rocker, and perhaps even if that's true, I swear, I heard my husband say something too. They talked amongst themselves, so I dashed for the door. I went to open it, but the door was closed. I started trying to open the door by holding onto its knob and knocking it, but my mother-in-law opened it after 2 minutes. I headed in, and as soon as I crossed it, everything felt back to normal. My husband was down with dextrose placed intravenously. Everything stood still. "Who were you talking to?" So then showed her the phone. She rolled eyes. "My friend. What about it?" I stopped myself from rolling my eyes and went to take care of my man. Her behavior is weird, and I am through putting up with it. My mother-in-law would at times try to completely take over my husband's care, refusing me access or even attending medical appointments herself. Her jealousy and protectiveness were starting to be a bit much. I felt something off about her. This does not make sense to me. Hence, I got Martha, it's mine. I want to do daily things like helping him out the door. This is my husband, please let me take care of him. Laura, I love you. I know that, but Hans has been in my care for the last few months and I know what's best for him. I get it, you have been helping him and I just want in. It's my duty as his wife. When my mother-in-law heard this, her expression became cold, and she whispered as if approaching closer to me. "You don't understand, Laura. I know what Hans needs. Believe me, I am looking out for his best interest." I was starting to get frustrated, but I kept my coolest. "Thanks, Brigade, for your amazing support, but I want to be massively involved in Hans's care. I would like to drive him to therapy and appointments. I want to be there for him." She narrowed her eyes, taking suspicion in every word. "Why are you intent on being along with us, Laura? Are you trying to manage everything? I've been the one mothering him, giving up my time and self-sacrificing." My heart sank. Her accusations hurt me. Why is she being so rude? That is my husband we are talking about. "Oh, I'm not holding anything over you, Martha. All I want is to step up and stand beside my husband. I love him, and I want to help him in any way that he can." Out of frustration, she pushed me away. In fact, I even fell to the ground because of how hard he hit me. "This is my son and you are an outsider, so don't tell me who you expletive. or what the hell you're going to do because I don't give a shit. He's my husband, and I must be in control of every single thing we decide on or do. I am his wife and I need to be consulted on anything there is that needs for my husband's recovery. Yet I feel like a mere spectacle, an anomaly. I could only hold my peace and ditch her in the act. You crazy, possessive bitch. She was one thing I had known right from the beginning, before either of us could tell you a single letter in each other's names. She is not to be trusted. She does not even tell me critical medical information. I was not told of one doctor's report because my mother-in-law will give me nothing. I knew something was going on behind my back, so one fine Sunday afternoon, I finally took things into my own hands doing what my gut feeling was telling me. I got a hidden camera into my husband's room. I wanted to see why this type of behavior like that with her mother is happening. I put the tiny camera while her suggestive walk with my hubby on a chair in required afternoon, gardening. I concealed it in a place that would escape their notice. I let it sit for a week, daydreaming about when the time came that I could go over what was on it and unlock all of its mysteries. My mother-in-law took my husband for one more therapy. God, I think there is something wrong with that session. As soon as they received the money of that session's fee, they left. She will not have that and told me to forget it. I am taking them. This would be a chance to listen finally to those tapes. It was the kind of footage that made my heart race in anticipation. My world shattered around me. IGSPD covering my mouth. There is no way this is real. I peered closer and saw my completely immobilized husband not on a bed, but instead walking around chatting with his mother. My chest began to pound, my whole body trembling, shaking in fear. But of all the lies, I did not see this coming. I blew up at my husband, like they were normal whenever I left them. I was overcome by shock and disbelief, and the tears sprung to my eyes. LDCULDTHUIIETOME. Lucky for you it was one of those hidden camera shows, and there were a couple other places in your house that had microphones on the premises to pick up audio recordings. And then I got to listen in on their conversations. I don't have any energy left for absorbing whatever they were discussing. It pains me. The words that were coming out of their mouths felt like knives in my heart. This was light. I found out that my husband was recovered the first 5 months of his therapy, and they just made a fool out of me. Plus another tragic conversation that way too many of us are familiar with. TGENTOFWAKTN. Was the money from Laura's account deposited to our covert business transaction less? Of course, my son. I've been doing it regularly. She won't suspect a thing. My husband winked and laughed. Excellent. She was furiously working while we lived our lives. We'll have everything our own way in no time. My money is going to them. They have been conspiring against me. This is the mother of all heartache. Into the camera, my husband chuckled. A devilish laugh. You really hit that pity card jackpot, didn't you? Laura took the bait. My mother-in-law snorted and sat, obviously pleased with herself for having busted the two of us. She said, and I thought we were so loving towards her. And she never knew waste for an escape beforehand. Escape? I mean, they're taking my money and making fun of me. This couldn't possibly stand. I watched as they again conversed over some dirt, capturing their incrimination on the hidden camera. We would have nothing left when our top-secret business gets off the ground with Laura, to find out that she has been fooled. His mother nodded, their bond sealing with every word. Darling son, what a hoot to be in cahoots with you. It will stay our little secret, and Laura shall learn innocent as she is. As I finally realized how they had betrayed me, did my eyes flood with tears. I refused to be a victim anymore. We guess whatever lies you have told, will I'll rise again and take back what is mine. But something else even worse occurred to me as I watched the truth unfold before my eyes. Been working hard to save up enough cash for my ailing husband's medical bills, but all that money has just gone down the drain on their little backroom project. And this hurt me the most. They squandered my earnings to get a business off the ground right in front of me, all while I believed it was an investment into my husband's health and good fortune. Even after many sessions, still my husband has not been returned. Ah, so this is why my mother-in-law wanted to take care of her son and no one else. I wanted proof of all this. When I heard the address of their secret business location, and since somebody asked where it was, thanks to God that he revealed his cards in one of our conversations, I visited his abode because they invited me. The construction was in progress, and without wasting more time I hurried to the spot. I had my phone in hand, and then walked around taking photos of their lies, exposing them as the cheats they are. The only written legacy of these traitors would be their photos. I didn't want to leave it at that. Anger raced through me, and a hunger for retribution. I wished them to truly feel the ache and shame they brought about unto me. So I meticulously plotted my revenge, which I would execute on the day of my next birthday party. This monstrosity cannot be allowed to take hold. I want everybody to know what they did. The day came and I greeted my guests, including my husband and mother-in-law. They had no idea the storm that was about to descend upon them. And I could not see pity wash over me from my husband now. There he sat in a wheelchair, not an ounce of shame or guilt. I craved the satisfaction of bringing clarity into their darkness. During the party, I stood in center and gathered everyone. The rest of the evening became a birthday celebration for me. It means the world to me. The audience erupted in cheers and thunderous applause, showing their love for you. Before we get the party started, I have a little surprise for all of you. I glanced at my husband and his mother, standing nearby faking calm. I have been working on a very special something, and I want to share these great news with you all tonight, because successes are meant to be celebrated with certain people in your life, which includes all of you. One of the big things I deposited was a large framed and covered sign. I mostly ripped off the cloth covering it, and there was a photo of my husband went with his mother doing some underhanded business. So me and the rest of his bandmates all started smiling like there was no tomorrow. My latest adventure. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the business I am now founding, and I have managed to secure you all an invitation, LADIES and GNTLEMENWESCONETUMINEWSEJOINMENEXTWEK ORTHEGRANDOPENINGEVENT. My husband and mother-in-law were in shock, faces priceless, as the guests cheered me on. The mask they wore was falling apart in the company of our friends and family. My husband, in a frenzy of agitation, leaped up from his wheelchair yelling, "That is mine." All the people in that venue gasped. Others were puzzled or shocked with what they just saw. My husband, who is believed to be paralyzed, already got up and shouted his heart out. The guests made no sound, their eyes open and disbelieving. "Oh, hens, you're mistaken. This is my business. You did spend all my money, remember? Playing games with me, you and your mom. I was so convinced you were paralyzed, when really you had already been made well. And that is the secret you just unveiled." This brought a murmur of whispers into the room. Then it clicked into place for people, and they started to see the deceit of which we all have been a part. Wait, Hens isn't paralyzed. Did he fake this the entire time? This sent my mother-in-law into a panic and even tried to take over the situation. It's not what you think. It can all be explained. Spare me the apology, Martha. Lies and deception, unveils. I drew a folder from behind the stage with pictures of their concealed business, extortion money, and joint hustle. Now everyone take a look at all of these pictures. That is the truth they kept from us. They built this business using my own hard-earned money without me knowing. The visitors saw the proof of guilt. They all wore their anger and disappointment on their faces. I am so sorry they abused your goodwill, Laura. They manipulated all of us. They should be ashamed. And then my husband, stricken with his own rage, and forgetting entirely his act of a moment ago, began moving. He was no longer frozen. Everyone had been caught off guard. The room fell to absolute silence. It was all her idea. My mother made me do it. I looked in Hen's face with sadness and anger. I trusted you, Hens. We were meant to take this on as a unit. The people around me expressed solidarity with our situation, which gave both my husband and mother-in-law the wake-up call they very much needed. Then they begged for mercy when the lies came unraveled. My mom dropped to her knees and begged for my forgiveness, with tears flowing down his face in humiliation. Meanwhile, my mother-in-law just stood there not swallowing her pride. She stayed proud and conceited. That was when I took my power back and walked away. I knew the house and I claimed it as my own. Same with his business. And slowly but surely, I got myself back. As though in response, I left them at the venue silent as a lamb. Enough is enough. I am finished with all your censored. Their betrayal came with a high price, and I exiled them never to return. So I moved on from their manipulation and lies, began putting the pieces together to rebuild life. It was a search for happiness. The wounds they created would take time to recover, but I knew for sure that now I was getting ready to move on and never return, in a future of freedom without the shadows cast by lies.